Hey guys, Bowler here with a Super Smash Flash 2 guide video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, mostly because I don't play SF2 nearly as competitively as I used to back in the day, but I wanted to make one again for one of my favorite characters, and who else would be better than my own channel mascot. But I have a confession, you see. I don't actually main Bandana Dee. So to help me out with this video, I got the help from two Bandana Dee mains I know from the community, who know a lot more about the character than I do, so a lot of the information in this video comes from the help of those two. Now don't get me wrong, I love Bandana Dee as much as the next guy, like come on, look how cute he is with the little spear. But when it comes to SF2, he's never really fit my playstyle preference, so I've stuck with my guns and played these two most of my time in beta. However, every now and then I do find the urge to give him another shot, and recently I've been trying to play him again, which is partially because I really do hope he makes it into Smash 5. And just for the sake of the video so you guys know, I'm abbreviating Bandana Dee to BD, just for the sake of a shorter name. So yeah, right off the bat, before we even talk about playing the character, every BD main should know that they have to make a very tough decision: which color to pick. Now you may be wondering, but Bowler, what does this have to do with winning the match? Well, to that I say, everything. Picking color is what makes your Bandana Dee special. Some people like to go with their blue or edgy Dee, but I personally like to go with the classic skin, since I think it looks the best looking. So alright, you pick Bandana Dee, despite what everybody says, and you want to prove people wrong. You've chosen your color, and now you're in the match, and you realize you have no idea what to do. Or you do know what to do, and you're still watching this video anyways. Well, I'm gonna break it down to you. First we've got your neutral game, then we got combo game, some edge guarding thrown in there, and we'll finish off with some KO options. This is gonna be the longest part of the video, since Bandana Dee is a very neutral based character. Do you like aerial mobility? Because that's exactly what BD is best at. BD is at his best when he can outmaneuver his opponents in the air and space his aerials to get an opening. Think like a really fast and accurate Jigglypuff or Kirby. Since BD's short hop is really low to the ground, you can throw out tons of forward airs and back airs without being fully committed, drifting back if your opponent is dash dancing out of range, or drifting forward to extend your reach. This is the core aspect of your neutral, and is one of the fundamental things you need to learn as a Bandana Dee player. So you stay on the ground for defense with up tilt and shield, and using your short hop fair for an opening on your opponent if they overcommit or whiff a laggy move. This makes BD really good against characters who can dash dance around a lot like Fox and Falcon, since you can throw out your active hitboxes and also be safe since you can drift back. So yeah, BD's stage control is really good. Making sure you have most of the stage controlled with your aerials is pivotal to winning in neutral with BD. Ideally, you want to be pressuring your opponent near the edge and keeping them away from a safe position. You can almost make a sort of wall of pain by slowly pushing your opponent back into an edge guard. However, you could also go for a more hit and run style with BD, going for a more defensive to offense in a blink of an eye, hitting them and then waiting for them to recover and then hitting them again. However, if that's not for you can still go for forward air strings off stage and go for some more risky combos. Overall, BD is a small, fast aerial pressure character, able to quickly throw out lots of aerials and keep control of the stage by doing so. And even if you do end up getting beaten out in the neutral exchange, BD is a pretty good character for disadvantage state, being a lightweight and having multiple jumps, making it hard to be comboed or edge guarded. And for those of you who want to play a more defensive neutral, throwing out lots of fade back fairs, fade back neutral Bs, and fade back side Bs can be pretty effective. However, I don't recommend solely relying on this. It's good to mix up your game plan and not be too predictable. And since people in this game generally play pretty impatient, you can definitely use this to your advantage as BD, mixing from not completely zoning to not completely rushdown, making your opponent run into your moves. Alright, quickly gonna break down which stages I think are best for BD. There's not a lot to be said about stages for BD since they're all pretty decent for him. Both the BD players I talk to definitely seem to gravitate towards flat stages more often, since they like to give their opponent less options in neutral and less ways to get around BD's wall of pain. However, just experiment with what works for you. I know I personally like the benefit of juggling on platform stages with up air, but everybody has their preferences. Alright, next we get to talk about Bandana Dee's combo game. Starting simple, your forward air is your best friend. This move works extremely similar to Ness's fair in Smash 4, where you can combo into itself and carry your opponents off stage, which works really good off stage when your opponent is probably DIing in to avoid death. If you're looking to start some combos, I'd recommend going for some neutral airs if your opponent's already comboing you and you want to start your own. Neutral air is sort of like a get off me tool unless you start your own combo. As for grounded moves, dash attack can usually combo into an aerial depending on your opponent's DI at lower percents. However, dash attack usually has way too much end end lag to get much off of, so I wouldn't recommend using it nearly as much as moves like up tilt. Speaking of up tilt is a perfect move for setting up an up air juggle, which depending on the situation, you might even be able to finish with an up B. You can also combo into up tilt off of dare at lower percents, making it easier to get an up tilt, alongside with up tilt out of shield, which are all great ways to start a combo. When it comes to throw, Bandana Dee has a good amount of options. Up and forward throw, however, generally are the best combo throws. However, you can try and do back throw, but I wouldn't highly recommend it for starting a combo. So yeah, personally, I like to go for up throw, since it has just the right amount of knockback and not too much end lag, so you can almost always get a combo off of it, and start an up air juggle or even a fair string. And like I mentioned earlier, forward throw can definitely do the job too, allowing for a neutral B, nair, or forward air after, which is definitely the better option for a forward air string, but not quite as good for up air juggles. Like I've talked about earlier, forward air strings are the best way to set up an edge guard for Bandana Dee. Having multiple jumps and really strong aerials means you can definitely basically rinse and repeat edgeguard with fair and bear on most characters, or even go for a dare spike if you want to risk it for a kill. Of course, you can always try and set up an edgeguard with back throw, but it's still a little risky since you have too much end lag to stop your opponent from getting away most of the time, but in certain situations, back throw can lead to a successful edgeguard with back air. However, I would not highly recommend relying on it since back throw is a little bit unpredictable in most matchups whether you'll actually get much off of it. Also, it's very situational, but if you're up a stock and have your opponent near the ledge, it might be worth going for a forward throw BD side to further your lead. Lastly, for edge guarding, here's a pretty cool technique you can do with Bandana Dee to set up edge guards on fast fallers. I already talked about this in one of my other videos, but again, Bandana Dee has a really cool technique where you can set up an edge guard on fast fallers really well by throwing your opponent upwards off the stage. To do this, you need to grab your opponent near the ledge out of a dash and then quickly as soon as possible up throw. If you do it correctly, this should happen and you should slide off while doing up throw. This works extremely well against fast fallers since most of the time you can usually do a quick forward air to edge guard them. Now we're going to talk about Bandana Dee's arguably biggest weakness, which is KO power. Aside from edge guards, Bandana Dee definitely struggles with finishing stocks. Luckily, he has received some buffs throughout balance patches last year, which helped make this issue not nearly as detrimental, but it's still a struggle for him. When it comes to smash attacks, F smash is definitely your best bet for killing your opponent, and it can be a decent tool when edge guarding from on stage or punishing a laggy move. However, since you can't really combo into F smash easily, it's not always the most reliable kill option. You can try and go for up B as a finisher to up air juggles, which works pretty well since the first hit of up B has a ton of knockback, but it can be a little bit risky since it's pretty easy to miss if you don't time it correctly. Alternatively, you can also try and do a grounded down B to secure kills around 100% on most characters, but this move is easily avoidable due to its long startup lag, so I'd definitely try and hit it only if you read a roll or tech roll or hit a side B to set it up. And lastly, if your opponent is super high percent, you can opt to go for a down throw KO. Anyways, that's about it for this guide. If you're already an experienced Bandana Dee player, you should already be pretty familiar with how his aerials work to secure victory. But this video is mainly for people who are trying to pick up the character or struggling to do well with him. And again, special thanks to Original Joey and Mischief Waluigi. I hope I see more of you guys trying to pick up Bandana Dee and doing well out there and getting some results. I've been playing him a lot more recently and he's definitely a lot of fun in the right matchups. Also, I'm finally finished with school, so I'll be focusing on YouTube a lot more. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching.